All right. We're going to wait for some people to jump on. Hello. I'm going to wait at people. How are you guys? It's been a while. It's been a few weeks since I've done one of these. I need to get you guys cut up. So we'll wait for some more people to jump on. I'm waving at everybody. But tonight I kind of want to go over some just stuff that's been happening in my reality, but the biggest thing maybe that can help happening in your reality. I think right now we're in such a time of shifting, and if you're living under a rock, you might not know what I'm talking about. But in reality, I like to basically, a lot of the things that I share, right, it's for you guys to go and research for yourself. So some things that come out of my mouth, I'm just giving a little forewarning. There's a thing called cognitive dissonance. There's a thing called having discernment. What cognitive dissonance is, again, this is something I post on my page. What I try to do is try to share things in a way where it's not too much, where it's simple enough to comprehend. So, again, I like waving at everybody that comes in. I see you. And understanding that cognitive dissonance is a term that when you hear something that goes out of your ordinary belief system, right? Like you believe life to be a certain way. We all have our own realities. We all have our own ways of perceiving life. That's what makes us unique. But at the core of it, we're all connected, right? We're all one. So when you have a set belief system, especially the first 7 years of your life, you start imprinting patterns in your subconscious. You start becoming aware of what raising your hand means in school. You start becoming aware of what curfew is if you're a teenager. Just different things that, so many people experience, right? So what happens is you build a core set of belief systems. You build a program. We're programmed, right? Not by, hey, program me against my free will. We just didn't know this. And this is where we're headed right now. We're headed to a time in our life where there's going to be free will. There's going to be more sovereignty, freedom of choice, nothing mandatory, nothing where you have to give up your power or give your power away, all different ways, right? Energetically, physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, all of these things. So we've been programmed in a way of these set ways of living. So cognitive dissonance is when something comes into your reality that now questions your reality. It questions the program you've subscribed your life to. It questions pretty much, it starts poking you in a way as if there's something else that you've missed your whole life. And for a lot of people, that's triggering. And that's a trigger. We call it a truth trigger, something that's truthful, that is very triggering to you. And the reason I share these things with you guys is because I experienced them. I think that's important to know that if you're following accounts or if you're looking at information, just be mindful, just have that discernment lens. But I've experienced these as I had my awakening on all facets, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the biggest one. And when you awaken to things, certain things come into your reality, they trigger you. And right now there's a lot of people getting triggered really, really deep and really, really dark and really, really hard. And a lot of it really doesn't have to do with them. It's just a program that they've carried on up into their present moment in life. And Joe Dispenza talks about this. So let's say if you had a memory in the past or a trauma growing up or something where you didn't feel safe or comfortable and you experienced something, your body holds on to it in so many different ways. The water in your body holds on to it. The water in your body holds and retains memory. And when you hold on to this, it's like putting a weight vest on and then putting a backpack on, a rolly bag behind you, and 2 ankle weights. We don't see that though, but energetically you feel heavy, you feel weighed down, you feel overwhelmed. And all that is you've carried over a pattern and you've carried over a subconscious program. You've carried over a emotional frequency in your body still that's being held in your system, in your water. You've carried it with you and you've been running your life with a weight vest. And some people are trying to help you get that weight vest off and they'll call it out and you'll shield them off because that is going against what you thought to be normal. We get used to feeling this way. We get used to these things. And so as we come into the present moment and you start cutting those things off, you start taking that weight off, you're able to have more of a hydrated lens, right? Jilly and I talk about this, and our wake movement is very profound in just like understanding that there's a different multiple way to look at it. I could put this right here, and this is a great one. Type in the scroll or the feed, what do you see? Some of you will have similar answers, but if we ask 7.7 billion people what this is, you're going to get millions of answers, right? And the more detailed you get, whether it's a person, place, or thing, you're going to get 7.7 billion. So technically, all of you watching here, are 7.7 billion people. How? That's quantum. That's when we're going into quantum physics. And it's fascinating because if you understand that each person in this planet sees reality their certain way, and they're looking at you as a person from the outside in, and I ask them, who is this person? You would have a different answer. Every single person probably would have some kind of different answer, right? Given the big picture of it all, 7.7 people, you're going to get some similar ones, but you guys get the idea of what I'm saying. So you're so many different stories, right? And so again, if you think this is a blue bottle, which these are blue bottles, and in fact, they're the best bottles you can get, go get a blue bottle. I know Caden's on here right now, blue bottle love. But this is a bottle, this is blue, this is water, this is glass, this is frequency, this is energy, this is healing. It keeps going and going and going, the infinity of words, right? The word magic. And so when all these perspectives come into play, you have the collective consciousness. Now at the core of it, the collective consciousness is kind of that hub with 7.7 billion strings attached to it. Those 7.7 billion strings are connected to you. We're all connected quantumly, sending frequencies right to the motherboard, right? Source, everything. And then everything in our reality reflects back of what we're feeling. And today, this great awakening that's occurring globally, this is not just something, a term or a saying, this is literally happening. This is really happening where about every 26,000 years or so this happens. A few years ago, I had no idea about any of this stuff, guys. And I started learning it, and I started getting curious, and I started researching. And that took me down a path of awakening, having a certain enlightenment within myself, waking up to different bodies within myself, becoming aware of subconscious patterns within myself, self-discovery. I think self-discovery right now is one of the greatest things you can do. Why not learn more about yourself? How does your digestive system work? We eat every day. How does your lymphatic system work? What does your energy do? What is happening at the cellular level? How do you break down things? When you start understanding, then you go to astrology and sky astrology, and then human design, and then gene keys. You start realizing how uniquely gifted and crafted you've become. And that's fascinating, and that's appealing. And for me, it was almost addicting, where I wanted to get to know myself more because my whole life was everything outside of me. So if you have trouble sitting with yourself and staying still, maybe trouble with attention spanning, obviously meditation is great and definitely practice. But I think even simpler than that is just ask yourself some questions. Like just start asking questions to yourself or asking questions out loud and seeing if you know those answers. Question things, start getting curious because those questions are going to lead to breadcrumbs. You know, it's that cue, that question and answer. You start asking questions, you go deeper and deeper and deeper, you start discovering more clear. And so as you learn these things about yourself, you can then apply the inner knowledge, your inner consciousness, which is a skill set. You have different skill sets. You have different mechanics, different energetics, different ways of expressing your voice, different ways of expressing love. And you take these things you learn and you implement them in your life. I think a lot of times we're so accustomed to only reading a book and going by it instead of embodying what we truly read, right? We want to be the things we're learning. And sometimes we get unconsciously, we go to school for so many years, and by the time we're done with school, we're just looking back on all the things that we wish we didn't do, or the things that we just weren't interested in, where instead we're never taught to go within. And so a lot of people right now, I believe, are going within themselves. And when they go within themselves, they meet different parts of themselves that usually they were distracted from by the current system that was in place, right? The Matrix, so to speak. And you guys see me post about that. The Matrix movie is a trailer. I don't even say it's a documentary. I'd say it's a trailer because the documentary itself is the life we're in, the reality. If we choose it, we are conscious creators, that we can all be conscious creators. And so we break free of this mental construct. We break free of these limitations. We learn about ourselves. The truth sets you free. You've heard of that saying. And it's very valid. It's very valid because it's not the truth you read in a book, because every book that's been written is in you. Okay? You can access it anytime you want. And when you understand the things that come from within, more so at the quantum level, that science is really waking up to, and where we're headed to a quantum future, you're able to understand that we're more than just a physical body and a brain and a life setup that happens to us with a school, graduate, job, relationship, family, work, kids, retire, die. That loop that we've heard for, my whole life, probably a lot of your whole life, maybe your parents' whole life. And we're breaking that now. We're breaking it now because we now are giving tools within ourselves that are turning on. And when they're turning on, you might be going through what's called like an ascension symptom. It's a very 5D way of expressing it. And in a 3D sense, right? I know everything's the same, but to give it some understanding in a 3D sense, you let go of things that no longer serve you. I am affirmations. You start rewiring things. You begin to heal, and you become more kind of aware of your surroundings. You start waking up. And as we go through these spiritual awakenings, it's pretty fascinating when you understand just a little bit. And you don't have to go to school for it. You can learn about it yourself. You can learn about things in your world, in your life, how it happens. And the next few months are going to be very interesting. And if you haven't been really paying attention, it's going to get very eye-opening, even for some that have become very aware of things and have maybe had an awakening within themselves, even things that it took me a while to comprehend. And that's what I always say, use discernment, deciphering from the things that are real and the things that could be misleading, the things that could be misconstrued, the things that could be just doesn't feel right. I think that's another thing. We pay tuition to go get education, but we always ignore intuition to better understand. Why are those words the same? Tuition, we pay a tuition to go to school, where our intuition really is that inner knowledge that we seek outside of ourselves. Remember, everything's a reflection. A lot of things outside of your life, in your reality, is a reflection of the things that are going on in your inner reality. So, yeah, these next few weeks, next few months, whether you're understanding things that are happening behind the scenes. Remember, there's multiple storylines being played out. You might be watching a whole different story than someone else. All right. And anything that I say on here, remember, go research it yourself. Take it as a grain of salt. If it triggers you, breathe through it. Get curious. And when you get curious, you're able to connect more dots. So with everything that's happening, the realities people are in, at the end of the day, it just comes down to where you are at in this current moment. Because the things I could say, all you're going to do is visualize it. We're not necessarily going to cover it yet, but you'll be able to travel very quickly. So for example, millions are looking at this as a pandemic, as a coronavirus. Business is shut down, masks, 6 feet distancing, which I have an interesting thing here. Listen to me on this. If masks work, why 6 foot distance? Okay. If 6 foot distancing works, why masks? If both work, because everyone's saying keep a mask on, because if you don't, they don't work. If both work, why shut everything down? Why shut everything down? It's an interesting kind of logical breakdown, because if you don't wear a mask, you're therefore causing harm and people get mad at you. Therefore, what they're saying is wearing a mask is going to protect you. So if that happens, why social distance? Why 6 feet distance? If both of those work, like millions are saying, why shut everything down? Why not just protect ourselves and live life anyways? So there's different ways to look at it. And that's one lens. It's one perspective. Another perspective is, I'm going to go out and enjoy my life, and I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm going to have fun. That's another perspective. Who's right? No one's to say. It's your own truth. Who's wrong? What happens is we get caught up in the mainstream media. We get caught up in the mainstream news. That's one thing. Just you got to turn your TV off. If you're watching this, turn your TV off, because all it's doing is feeding you propaganda, programming, biased information that has no credibility and has been manipulated. They're spin masters. They're spin masters and they're word magic extraordinaires. So really just turn off the TV. Be mindful and aware that in a higher, different lens, there's more happening. Now, if anybody has a question on the bigger things that are happening, I'm happy to jump into that. I could pick a topic and all of these things, but if anybody wants to ask something they want to go down a wormhole in, this is where it's going to get a little bit more deep, because I want to share this stuff, because what I'm trying to do, and I am doing on my page, is helping people understand things bigger that are happening if they choose, right? I'm going zoom out lens. That's kind of where I'm at now in my life. Zoom in was kind of focusing on my inner self, healing that, right? We tend to get caught in the zoom out and we forget to do that inner work and go through those things. So last 2 years figuring that, going through that, and then pulling out. Now, zoom out. There's a lot happening in this world, as if we could just jump right into it. So let's see what we got. Crash of the dollar and cryptocurrency. It's an interesting one. So to give you a brief snippet of the background of things, remember we were originally on a gold-backed dollar, okay, before Nixon flipped it, I believe in 1971. Again, everything I say, you can write down if you want, look it up, I recommend, but question everything. So in 1971, the gold-backed dollar was removed and the Federal Reserve was issued. Now, when the Federal Reserve was issued, the Rothschild family, the central banks, they started to monopolize. Because when you control the nation's money, you control everything. The military, the food, the healthcare, the insurance, everything. You control it all. So if you control the money in the world, which was held hostage and taken and flipped and turned dark for dark, nefarious purposes by the joint powers that were, I don't even say that be, that were, you have control over the planet. I always say three things, I made this in the past, is fear, hate, and greed. When you have greed, right, you're able to control the monetary system. When you have fear, you're able to use a virus to scare the world. When you have hate, you can create division with politics, race, religion, class, economy. You can create separation where people hate each other. So those are the three pillars. When you flip it, love, compassion, and gratitude. And money being a big one for so many, that was hijacked. So these banks were starting to take over all over the world. These central banks, everywhere you go, there were the central banks in place there to control the currency of that state. When you control that, you controlled it all down. So fast forward now, we have 2020, and I skipped a lot of things. I'm trying to condense this because I want to answer some other questions because it's fun. And I think it's good to know because all of you are about to get this declassified and disclosed to you very soon. Again, that's in my reality. I don't know if it happens in yours because we all create our own. But this will be coming out very soon. So I'm giving you guys a little preview of what's to come. So if you guys remember in March 2020, the virus hit. That same month, POTUS, okay, our president, he went over to the Federal Reserve. No media coverage, no CNN, no MSNBC, no New York Times, no celebrities, no politicians. He went over there with the Navy SEALs and he took back the Treasury, or took back the Federal Reserve. He literally went over there, took back the Federal Reserve, and you can look this up. If you research it, it's all there. It's just not on mainstream. So if you've been reliant on something telling you what's happening instead of you actually going and seeing what's happening, you'll be told two completely different worlds. The people that are caught, right, in the Project Mockingbird, it's literally they're in a project, they're in a simulation. They're being told things. And it's constant influx. The moment you stop the influx and you pause it and you realize all that's within you, the influx is already in here, right? You then can go ahead and connect dots. That's the energy that goes out. So those that are taking information, they're seeing the virus, they're seeing fear, they're seeing economy down, and they're seeing hate with all the sad stories and racism and division and separation and left versus right, all of these things. So And the Federal Reserve is basically the business that owned our money. Now, we have fake money. If you have a dollar, it's fake. It has no substance behind it. There's nothing to back a dollar. Where gold-backed currency, such as gold-backed crypto, gold and silver, gold-backed dollars, those actually have quantifiable meaning because those are the original metals here, gold and silver. So when you have God's currency, you then work with the universal laws, which is a whole different world we're heading to. Okay, so hopefully that makes some sense. And then as you basically understand that he took over the Treasury or brought the Federal Reserve to the Treasury, the only way you can do that is when you control the military. So if you guys didn't know, POTUS, when he was inaugurated, he actually had military generals behind him. Literally 10 of them. No president's ever done that because every president, again, not universalizing, the last at least 4 or 5 have been controlled, placed, strategically set, with bad intentions and bad reasons that will all be shared pretty soon. So he took the military, the SEALs, went over there, brought over the Federal Reserve. It became part of the Treasury overnight. He hired a guy named Larry Fink, who was the CEO of Blackstone, which is one of the largest financial companies in the world, to manage. It's all numbers. It's all quantum. It's all physics. It's all mathematics. It's number magic. It's pretty remarkable how you can literally reset and do a whole financial reset on the economy and on the whole world, so to speak. So what had happened was March, that occurred, and that started the onset of all kinds of executive orders. Executive orders with different monetary things. Again, so much to get into. That was just one question, but basically he took it over. It's part of the Treasury now, and we're going to be having Jassara. Oh, that's actually pretty cool, because watch this. So on 8/8, POTUS actually put forth orders to cut payroll tax to the end of the year, which will probably be forever. Taxes are coming back. Again, use discernment, slow down. He extended eviction notices, so if you can't pay rent, you get extensions, a relief. He got rid of student loan interest. So if you miss any student loan payments, you won't be taxed on that or interest payments on it. And then he did one more thing I'm blanking on, but you can look it up. But what was interesting, he did it on 8/8. Now, for a lot of in the spiritual community, that's Lionsgate portal. In the Cabal community, that's one of the biggest days for their rituals, for their sacrifices and things that they do with children, which is very dark. And it's heavy because a lot of things get hijacked in the energetic realm, the spiritual world, with dates and timelines. So 8/8 Lionsgate for the spiritual community is one of the biggest days for the Cabal to do their thing. So me personally, I don't partake in those kind of synchronicities. I would just say, just be aware of what's going on, because I didn't want to put any of that energy out there to it. But at the same time, I get how you can flip it and send light and love. So that's just me, right? That's just me. Foreign unemployment, extra $400, which we'll be getting a lot more in the future. We're getting paid out with the money that was taken from you. All the taxes you've been paying your whole life, maybe, or your parents, it all went to corrupt funding. Why are our roads still the way they are, and people are sick, and costs are through? It's a mess. It literally, our country was a mess the last 20 years, 30 years, 40, 50 years. So we're getting all that money we paid back to us. We're getting a return on investment, plus more. But anyways, 8/8. So I wrote this to myself. This is a check. This is a check for $1 million. And I wrote this 2 years ago. And you can't see it. I don't get my routing number. But literally wrote this 2 years ago on 8/8/18. And it's $1 million check. And the number is 196, which adds up to 16, which is 8 plus 8. Wild on phase 1 of Trump signing this Jassara into action. So it was pretty interesting synchronicity. What else here? Yes, so he took back our currency. He took back our control of the money. It's going to be backed by gold. So there's actually a family, or multiple families, but like the Dragon family, who actually went on ahead and bailed out the world. $47 trillion it was bailed out. So The United States owed China 17 trillion. That was paid off, taken care of, which, by the way, every nation is on board with what the so-called Q movement is doing. If you guys didn't know, you can look that up, and it's a lot of information, but it is real. It is a movement. It is an awakening. It's something that is, how do I explain it? It's a message. It's a message. It's a message to you to start waking up to yourself, to questioning things, to looking at yourself, to going against the narrative. It's just of waking up to what's going on. So what's happened is a lot of people are waking up right now, but the direction on how to wake up is, it's tough. It's tough for a lot of people. So the Q kind of gives drops, breadcrumbs, with these Q drops, they call them, but it's enough for you to go, what is happening? I'm going to research more. Instead, most people go, oh, that's crazy. Back to the Matrix, the influx, the Project Mockingbird. So you see the information warfare. It's World War III. We're in World War III, and instead of bullets and tanks, which is happening on a different scale of rescuing children, again, a whole nother video probably in itself. I'm going to be making a lot more of these for you guys to ask questions and get to know what's really happening. So when this starts getting declassified and disclosed, you got a little heads up. So no more bullets and guns and things like that. It is information. It is manipulation. It is psychology. It is spiritual, energetic. It's all things where I couldn't move and I can still feel it. Okay, it's quantum. It's a quantum war in a way, because that's where we're headed. And so this movement, this awakening Q, question everything, really comes down to you choosing when you want to connect dots, when you want to do certain things, how fast you want to do it, at the pace, and how you want to share it. So for me, it's pretty much, that's what I'm doing with you guys. So yeah, that's kind of what the Q thing is all about. And it's real, it's happening. That's in my world again. You don't have to believe me. It's great, all good. Still care about you, love you. But if I don't necessarily respond to certain things with different messages, let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Sites for the Q. qmap.pub. That's just the Q drop. So you can go as slow as it drops, and you could just click on something, and it's usually that. You could do that. I would definitely just start watching documentaries, Out of Shadows and Fall of the Cabal. Just watch those two. And after that, if you still are completely no chance, that's okay. That's totally okay. But if after that you start to connect dots, that's usually when the wormhole starts. So Fall of the Cabal and Out of Shadows definitely are the best so far. What do I keep calling Trump? POTUS, that's President of the United States. Watch Out of Shadows documentary, Above Majestic. Yes. Yeah, Majestic 12. Above Majestic, Use Some Discernment. Corey Good and David Wilcock are interesting guys. I'm not going to go too deep into what they do. Yeah, let's see. What else? I mean, there's so much I want to share with you guys, but I'm like I said, I'm going to start doing these pretty often. You guys can come with some questions, but let's see. I don't know. What else? What's another thing you guys want to know? With the Q movement, what's happening in the world? Fire away. I got my chakra candle. Let's see here. Time travel. So here's one thing you guys can look up: Project Looking Glass. Project Looking Glass is it's an interesting concept that you can actually see the future. And I don't know when it was originally created, but there's all kinds of things being told of like Barron and Donald Trump, and even their dog. I think his name was Friday, which is the day JFK Jr. passed, which I don't know if he's going to come back. I hope so. I think so, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. So stay tuned for that. I know, like where'd that come from? JFK Jr. But the time travel, there is actually a cartoon, believe it or not. There's a cartoon with Barron Trump in it and Donald J. Trump that happened like, I don't know how many years ago, and it predicted some of the things happening now. So it's very interesting, but yeah, I think they're time travelers. It's fun to just think that. We'll never know, but we probably will know, to be honest. So might as well start letting your mind go. Let's see. Chemtrails. So I haven't seen chemtrails in months ever since the shutdown. So huge. Hopefully those are done forever. But yeah, they used to spray heavy metals. The original plan, guys. Again, take a deep breath. The original plan was to fill the human body up with heavy metal. That's why you got pesticides. That's why you got chemicals, plastic bottles, chemtrails, heavy metals in food, pharmaceuticals. Everything pretty much in our reality had heavy metals. So what does that do to us? It's filling us up with density, which keep us weighted down in the 3D matrix instead of ascending to a higher dimension, right? Bringing heaven to earth. So these heavy metals were to weigh us down, and like aluminum, right? Aluminum in our deodorant, floor, everything had some kind of heavy metal. So if you're here today, I would recommend doing a heavy metal detox or start eating more cilantro, chlorella, sweating, different things like that just to get yourself going. Because the original thing that was supposed to happen is we all full of these heavy metals. A virus was made, coronavirus was initially set, and to be hit way worse than what it is now, and FEMA camps and all this stuff, and vaccines mandatory and all this stuff, and 5G. 5G was supposed to turn on, and we have all this metal in us. It's a microwave, millions, overnight. And that was the New World Order that we are no longer a part of, and we're not heading to. However, maybe some people have these realities manifest in a lower dimension. But taking care of your body, taking care of your vessel, yeah, you'll definitely have a good understanding of what is really, really going on. But I haven't seen chemtrails in a minute, so that's a really good thing. Let's see. Yeah, the Pizzagate dolls, that was wild. Spiritual warfare indeed. So David Wilcock, again, I don't know much about him. People I've talked to said they're called gatekeeping. So what they do, they monetize things to share information that could help humanity. It's like you have the secrets to help humanity, but you monetize it. So usually when people do that, there's something deeper that they're getting paid, and it's not actually them monetizing it. It's like someone controlling them and taking the money they're charging. I hope that makes sense. It's money. It's just money. But no, I'm sure the messages he says amazing and just energetically. Oh, the Galactic Federation. Yeah, that's a very 5D higher dimensional connection, which I get, good and bad. To have good, there is bad. So don't forget the balance. It's not always just going to be all good all the time. Just because something is Galactic Federation of Light doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be all love and light. So I hope that makes sense. So there's good and bad. Of course, people are waking up. People are going through a lot. But yeah, I wouldn't take too much. Remember, you create your reality. No matter what the Galactic Federation of Light says, good or bad, you choose every single moment in the conscious awareness moment of now what you're going to do next. I'm going to stand up next and make dinner after this. That's what I'm choosing, and that's making me happy. And my next decision is going to make me happy. And the things that don't make me happy anymore, I'm consciously aware I'm not going to do them anymore. So good or bad is a reflection of your inner reality. Always bring that power back to you. The new med spas, maybe the med beds. You guys heard of the med beds? So we're going to have med beds pretty soon. At least that's, again, what I believe based on my research. Where you lay in a bed and anti-aging. If you guys watched, again, POTUS's inauguration, what did he say? We will rid the planet of human disease. We will travel space and unlock free energy, new energy of the frontiers tomorrow. He said that 4 years ago if you didn't catch it. Well, Space Force, done. Med beds, cures, all these slowly coming out. Right? HCQ is just a optic to get people to start going, is there cures for things? And then he releases cancer cures, right? Med beds. And then free energy, Tesla Tech. So these things are happening. You really just got to pay attention a little bit, but it's hard because we're so go. So these med beds, basically you lay in them and a frequency goes through you and it scans your DNA, safe, harmless, not the 5G fear stuff that we've been programmed with. And it can actually see what breaks and blockages are in your DNA, and it can actually restructure it just like with water. Water is going to be a huge component in the future of healing. Whether it's this water I drink, Kangen water, medical grade water, quantum water, water with structure, water with electrons and hydrogen. Those are building blocks for life, both of those. But the med beds, you'll be able to, what I've seen, age backwards. Like you'll lose 30 years of your life. Like you'll be the same age, but your body will actually feel as if you were 30 years ago. So that could be what will be happening. Let's see. Yeah, chemtrails are usually a way to start going, what is that? Flu vaccine, I believe that. I mean, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. High-pitched sound, frequency, your body's attuning to like another frequency. So it's like getting an upgrade. You're tuning into a different station, right? So every time you live your life, someone's on the radio station, they're cranking it, and it's attuning to a certain frequency, which is hertz, which is how fast a wave cycles per second. So 7.83 hertz, that's the Schumann resonance. That Schumann resonance is in harmony with the universe, and that's like the heartbeat of the earth. So then you go boom, 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 boom. That's the Schumann resonance. So when you attune to that, basically, I don't even know this is just want to be shared. When you attune to the Schumann resonance, you attune to the life force energy of the planet. That helps with healing. So we have an orgone generator that pumps out 7.83 hertz. You can get it at orgonegenerator.com. It's amazing stuff, Orgone. Look that up too. That's going to be the future of healing. So these high-pitched frequencies is basically these different hertz that you're tuning into, which have different messages. You're a receiver board. You guys, I want you to remember a lot of the information you know and remember is already within you. It's not in a book. It's not in school. It's not an online class or a seminar. When you look and read those things outside of you, you just remember it. I know, right? It's like, oh, wait, so I'm not learning anything. I'm just remembering what I already know. Yes. That's the beauty of taking your power back and becoming aware that you do know more than you think, because that's where your confidence will stem from. A lot of people don't have confidence because they've unconsciously given all their confidence away, relying on things outside of them to upgrade them. And when that doesn't work, they blame them and they become victim. That's what the Cabal and all that want you to do. So that high-pitched sound. Let's see. So the 5G thing, there's a lot of links about it. Basically, the biggest thing to know, again, this is what I've researched, is Trump cut off the, what's it called? Huawei? That's the 5G from China. Remember, China's Cabal headquarters. So connect the dots. When you cut off the thing that was coming in, with originally these towers being set and planned for 5G from China, Huawei 5G. Trump got rid of them first year in his presidency. He said, nope, you are not coming here because we're going to use Tesla tech. We have better stuff. Why? We won't need Chinese or USA made, Tesla tech made, Tesla made. And it's pretty remarkable, actually. At least this is what I'm manifesting. All these towers that you guys are seeing being put up. And I've seen multiple videos and pictures of birds having nests on them. So unless they haven't turned them on, but even so, an animal will know if there's something of a frequency shift or a disruption. So these towers are going to be used for free energy. Tesla tech. Another example from the dots I've connected. I don't know if you remember when the POTUS tweeted Covefi. I remember, I think I was at the gym and I was laughing. I was like, this guy's an idiot. It's my first thought. He didn't even know how to spell coffee. But Covefi is Cove iron alloy. So it's an abbreviation for a piece that transmutes 5G into free energy. That helps us get to the 5D. See how the Cabal goes 5G, 5D? They just do the opposite of what we're going to. It's pretty interesting, huh? So I'm not afraid whatsoever of it, but that doesn't mean it could not happen. There could be still Chinese towers that when they turn on, It's hard to say. But the collective wise, we're on a different timeline. No chance any of these things are happening where people are getting sick overnight. And if that does happen, I'd be very, 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 very surprised. But again, if you have your modalities and healing tools, you can heal and overcome anything. Overcome anything. Let's see. Financial reset, yes, that is going to be happening. I'm a manifesting generator in the human design. Yeah, the human design. Look up the human design. It's pretty amazing. Draco's reptilians. Nothing's too far out. It just depends how far you want to go. That's kind of the chain of command, really. It really, the Schumann resonance was 77 today, so the chain of command goes all the way up. And again, you could go, oh, this is crazy, I'm no interest in it. That's fine. But at the same time, your energy matters. So even if you don't think you make a difference, your thought process and your frequency you hold alone impacts thousands of people, if you did not know that. So the things that we're ignoring and being ignorant to, well, at the end of it, this is not something that just passes. This is like where we're going. There's no normal to go back to. So you might as well start learning some of this stuff at your pace. But yeah, those are real. Those are coming down from the archons. All these things that come down from off-planet malevolent extraterrestrials, and then it trickles on down to the Rothschilds and the Illuminati, the Jesuits, the Black Pope, the Vatican, and then into the Queen of England, and then the presidents, and then the nation leaders, and NATO, and then the celebrities, and then to your TV. That's the chain of command. Crazy. But it's all happening. It's all getting shifted. Let's see. Hey, send them light and love. It's all good. It's all good. So, yeah, that's kind of the updates. Again, back to you. Zoom back in. Basically, just keep taking care of yourself. I would just take care of yourself. Stay hydrated, ground, breathe. Really take your time, meditate, exercise, all the basics. If there's ever a time that you want to do self-development, if there's ever a time that you want to cut your habits, if there's ever a time that you wanted to make a change in your lifestyle, or change what you're eating, change what you're drinking, or trying a new movement, or trying a yoga practice, or trying sound healing, or plant medicine, try it. And start now. Start cleaning your vessel, your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual body. Start now. And literally, whether it's just simply as changing your water, that's a good start. Just start now, baby steps, because where we are headed as a collective, by the end of this year, this will be a whole new planet. A whole different frequency, a whole different ballgame, a whole different embodiment, whole different systems, a whole bunch of D-class and disclosure. It is going to be amazing. But it could also be a nightmare for many if you continue to do those things that no longer serve you. The alcohol, the drugs, the gossip, the GMOs, the stress, the negativity, the numbing, all of these things. All of these things. At your pace, giving that power to you. All right? Even if it's cutting back. I've had four nights where I've drank in the last 2.5 years. And compared to my life, and it's been amazing. It really has. And you clean your vessel, and you're high all day because all these chemicals are being released, and the messages you hear are so much better. The clarity you receive in messages becomes so much clearer. Your awareness increases as you clean the inside. Everything outside gets cleaner. Does that make sense? Clean the inside physically. Everything physically outside of you is going to be better. It's going to come out better. Mentally, you start clearing the blockages in your mind. You start waking up to things. You start really facing different parts of you. You start realizing what's in that subconscious. Back outside. mentally, you're going to have amazing conversations. You're going to problem solve. You're going to do all kinds of things. You're going to build businesses. You're going to have success. You're going to talk to people better. You're going to come out better. Emotionally, you're healing all of these things. You're letting go of all these things. You're cutting these cords. You're cleaning your aura. You're resetting your system. You're doing meditation. You're doing sound healing. You're just emotionally, you're taking care of your emotions by being aware of them and feeling them. Not numbing or escaping or wishing you didn't have them. We were gifted with emotions because energy is in motion and we get to feel this energy. And then outside, energy is wild. Things happen to you. It's an emotional roller coaster of happiness, joy, accomplishment, humbleness, curiosity, genuine loyalty. Just the things get better. They come out better. And then spiritually, wake up to your spiritual self. You'll really see this world that we're living in. It is actually getting better. And so it is. So, all right, guys, I'm hopping off. I'm hungry. I'm going to make some dinner. And I've been also, someone asked, plant-based for about two years now, 2.5 years. Greatest decision of my life. And that's maybe for another, video, but I've made one in the past, so you guys want to check it out. The biggest reason is quantum. It's all energy. It's all energy. Energy. Eat living, drink living, breathe living, grounded living, feel living, be alive. So it is. All right, guys, have an amazing night.